All right, today I've got a story. Let's keep it a little vague just in case. I told Ed, the editor-in-chief, that I was going to tell this story. Tell all. Finally, tell the world. And he was very nervous about it potentially being negative towards us. But I'm like, it's only been fun. Okay, relax. So there was a very big game. I'm going to keep everything vague. There was a very big game that was being previewed at a event. We did not have an appointment for it. We went the first day of that event. Me and Jex, who is our guides editor, he is from the UK. This is very important. He's white as snow. It's actually important to the story. I'm not just being like weirdly racial. So we're trying to like get a preview of the game. We know we don't have an appointment, so we're trying to get there first. We go up to the press check-in that first day and we're like, hey, because I have to talk this way. I have to like change my tone. Hey, is there any chance of like previewing the game? We didn't get an appointment. Boom, right there, she hit me with the most generic response that you're gonna hear a million times if you're part of the press and you're talking to PR. And they don't give a shit about you. Oh, we're super booked. I love doing that voice. Oh, sorry, I can't do that. The guy from South Park. It's exactly it in real life. So I'm like, oh no, super booked. Oh, of course. And she's like, try back tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow? Tomorrow. Check tomorrow. I'm like, okay, tomorrow, girl. Got you. I'm coming back tomorrow. By the way, I was the sickest I've ever been this event. Like in my life. I did so much and cared so little for my well-being that for the next 6 months I continued to be sick. 103 fever running around an entire convention center. I don't take care of myself. But it needed to be done at the cost of my life. Super important work. We needed to get the preview for that game. Next day, instantly bolt when the doors open, run. And I'm talking full on sprint again with 103 fever. Like, that's not important to the story, but I just want you to know how crazy I was to do that. Like, nowadays, I don't give up. I would not do that. Nowadays, I would not. I'd be like, sorry, staff, I'm staying in the hotel. But then we get to the place. I talk to the same lady again because she's the US press contact. So I have to talk to her. It's not that I want to, I just have to. Oh, super butt. Again with that. So then Jex and I are defeated. We step aside. We talk to one another. We are like, what do we do? What do we do? And then suddenly the idea gets into my head as I look over to our right and I see the Latin American contacts. It happened much like a sitcom, as most things in my life do. I look at Jex, I look at the Latin American press contact. I look back at Jex and I say, should I do it? And he looks at me like, you have not talked about anything that's going on in your mind right now. You realize that, right? You're just talking in your head. And I'm like, just follow my lead. And then I just start talking in Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Nosotros somos de un website. Broken Spanish, by the way, because I'm good with Spanish, but when I'm trying to convey something, I stutter. Somos de un website de videojuegos. Nosotros escribimos de todo. Por casualidad hay un espacio para nosotros. I'm pretty sure they knew that I was lying because like they asked me like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, de Miami. This is all in Spanish. And then it's like, oh, but like you're Latin American primarily. I'm like, yeah, I'm Cuban. Like it made no sense. Like I'm Cuban, but the website's Cuban too, but we're based in Miami, but also there's this UK editor that we have and he's the one that's going to be previewing the game. It's like what a tangled web you weave when you're not a spider. But you know what? That Latin American hospitality, y'all, because they instantly were like, yeah, of course we have space, way right here, yes. And then at that point they got us in, we were waiting to preview the game and they kept asking questions. So the questions just convoluted my story even further. I was like, well, yeah, I escaped from Cuba. I escaped from Cuba when I was like 5. Yeah. So I started the website and I like escaped from Cuba at the height of the Castro regime, apparently. It doesn't even make sense now that I think about it back. Like I was like, I started the website in Cuba. First off, I don't think they're even allowed internet. But then I moved to Miami, or did I start the website when I moved to Miami? I kept it vague enough to where there were so many questions, but nobody wanted to ask them. You know, nobody dared ask because they're like, this poor girl has been through so much. She escaped the Castro regime on a raft probably, and then made it to Miami, and they gave her another chance, and then she started a website from the ground up. Oh, this amazing woman. And then all the while, Jex is just standing there. He's like, what the hell's going on? And then there was an editor from a Mexican website there talking to me, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, pick up, blow my car. At the end of the day, Jex got in. He was able to preview the game. I had to run, again, with 103 fever. I don't want you to forget that I did that. I had to run to another appointment because Z, our reviews editor, was having trouble on another appointment, and I had to schmooze that one up. Didn't have to pretend to be Cuban. Didn't have to pretend to be Twinfinito.com then. And that's the tale of how, for a day, I was the Cuban immigrant owner of a website that was targeted toward Latin America, despite the fact that it was founded in Miami, has a UK editor, likely is writing the post in English. At the end of the day, it's just so obvious that like they knew. They're just like, this girl is lying up a storm, but I respect it. So I'm gonna help her. Just in case you thought that I didn't hustle hard, I did. I'm exhausted now. I'm still exhausted. Remembering that exhausts me. I was 103 fever. I didn't even know that it was videojuegos. I always say juegos de video, not videojuegos. That makes no sense.